You want to talk to Booking.xx here, and welcome to something that's a little bit experimental, alright? So, you guys might know that years ago, back whenever I first started YouTube, I actually did a little theory series during the Sky Kid era. If you're new to my channel, basically what the Sky Kid era was as you can see, my name is Click.xx now. Back when I was around 10 years old, I actually started this channel, and it was called Sky Kid. I was a fucking pleb. But... I haven't said the word pleb in ages. But no, I actually used to do these theory videos, these really stupid theory videos, like Mario 64 and Mario 64 DS, Mario 64 2 being the same game. I actually did a reaction video of that. That theory is so bad. And then a FNAF timeline theory, some other FNAF stuff. I don't know. It was the weirdest shit. But I haven't done a theory video in a long fucking time. And I was like, you know what? I actually kind of miss doing this. So recently I've been playing through a bunch of the Sonic games. If you watch my second channel, Click.xx you'll know that because I've been playing through Sonic Adventure there recently, and I've been talking about how I've been playing through the other games like SA2 and all those, and even Mania and all those. And I was sort of thinking in my head, these games are supposed to be connected. Sonic Generations makes that very clear, and Sonic Forces as well also makes that really clear. But how are they connected? We know how the Zelda games are connected, as confusing as that is. But we don't know how the Sonic games connect. I know it's a really random comparison, but whatever. So yeah, I've decided I'm going to try and put together a somewhat cohesive... There is a little bit of issue in the middle, and I think you can probably guess why. But yeah, there's a little bit of issue in the middle. This is the most cohesive Sonic timeline I could come up with. Now, it is kind of a multiple choice kind of thing. I mean, kind of not, really depending on what you want to believe. It's just sort of a basic layout that you can kind of put your own spin on. Like, for instance, spin-off games like fucking... What's it called? Team Sonic Racing. That's not on here. That's not me saying it's not canon. I actually think that game is canon. I just sort of don't know where to put it. I don't really think it helps format the timeline too much. So we're just gonna get right into this. So no shit, the first game is Sonic 1. It's like, come on. If you're gonna start out of the timeline, there's no real other place to start here. And before somebody comes out and says there's no real evidence that it happens first, there actually is considerable evidence. One being the lack of Tails, considering Tails follows Sonic about fucking everywhere from this point onwards, basically, aside from one game, which we'll get to. And also the lack of the 7th Chaos Emerald. That's another point, because in all the other games, there's 7 Chaos Emeralds, except for Sonic the Fighters, which has 8 Chaos Emeralds, which we're just gonna fucking ignore. But, yeah, this is before the 7th Chaos Emerald was either discovered or found after being lost. You sort of make your own conclusions on that. I choose to believe that it was, lost for years and people thought it had been lost and then Eggman, found it or some shit. That's what I believe. Sonic 2 never actually confirms any of that, but that's what I choose to believe. Anyway, we're kind of getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. So yeah, that's why Sonic 1 takes place first. After Sonic 1, Sonic CD takes place. Now, a lot of people might not actually know this, but Sonic CD, it's coming out after Sonic 2, it actually happens before. So yeah, Sonic actually met Metal Sonic and Amy before he met Tails, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, considering, he seems to really hate Amy, at least in the Adventure era he does, and Tails is his best friend. It's weird. To be fair, Amy is a little bit overbearing, but whatever. So yeah, this is where Sonic CD takes place. And obviously, more evidence for this is the lack of Tails. The Christian Whitehead version is not canon, by the way. I don't care if Christian Whitehead added Tails. He also added Knuckles in Sonic 1, which doesn't make any fucking sense. You know what I mean? I'm not taking that into account. So, yeah. Sonic, another thing is that obviously the Chaos Emeralds aren't in this. Obviously they have the Time Stones and there's 7 of those, but the Chaos Emeralds aren't in it. And it's that's not really a huge one, but I feel like it's worth pointing out. So yeah, after Sonic CD, Sonic 2 happens. This is where he meets Tails. The 7th Chaos Emerald is either discovered or found, depending on what way you want to look at things. He goes Super Sonic for the first time, destroys the Death Egg, blah 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 blah. And fucking Star Wars shit. That's basically what it was. But before we move on to what the next game is, I do want to point out that there are actually a couple games that you could throw in here. By the way, I'm literally looking at this on a computer screen right now. I have my iPhone notes opened on my computer. So yeah, obviously so far I've said Sonic 1, Sonic CD, and Sonic 2. If you really want to throw these in, you can. You can throw in Sonic 1 8-bit prior to the original Sonic 1, or after, that doesn't really matter. Or 8-bit Sonic 2 before or after CD. Honestly, 8-bit Sonic 2 is the only reason I'm really bringing this up, because that game I do know was supposed to take place before the original Sonic 2, and it's kind of how he met Tails, but Adventure kind of retcons that, so I just wanted to bring this up in case anyone was thinking that. Yes, I do have this put down. I literally have it put down here. Sonic 1 8-bit, maybe. Sonic 2 8-bit, maybe. I choose to believe these don't happen, but if you want to believe they happen, it's that doesn't really cause many problems. Yeah, we're just going to move on from that. So after Sonic 2, that's when Sonic 3 and Knuckles takes place. This happens literally seconds, maybe seconds, minutes after Sonic 2. They're on the tornado. Sonic dives off the tornado, fucking turns into Super Sonic, flies into Angel Island to get he must get punched in the dick by Knuckles, considering the fact he knocks all of the fucking Chaos Emeralds out of him. That didn't make any goddamn sense. And yeah, this is where obviously the Master Emeralds introduced the Super Emeralds, make their like one and only appearance. I fucking hate that they had to cut them from Mania simply because fucking what's the dude's name? The fucker, the lead of Sonic team who fucking hates the Super Emeralds and has serious like rules for who's allowed to go super. That's the dumbest shit. But yeah, this is where all that takes place. This is where Knuckles is introduced, starts off as a bad guy. This is where you find out that Knuckles is incredibly gullible. It's where you find out he's the guardian of the Master Emerald. All that bullshit. It's the first game to ever have like a secret boss fight after getting all the Chaos Emeralds or Super Emeralds in this game. So yeah, that's Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's where that takes place. Right, now this is where we kind of hit a bit of an interesting thing. So right after this, I'm saying Sonic Generations from classic Sonic's perspective. Now, yes, before anyone brings it up, I know in Sonic Forces, Tails says this fucking bullshit.
You're that Sonic from another dimension, aren't you?
We're ignoring that. Classic Sonic is from the past. Sonic Forces makes sense either way. If he's from another dimension, if he's from the past, it makes sense. Sonic Generations makes no fucking sense if he's from another dimension, because the Time Eater travels through time, not space. It doesn't really make any fucking sense. Well, space, it travels through space, but you know what I mean? It doesn't travel through dimensions. It doesn't have fucking dimensional travel. So yeah, classic Sonic in this example is from the past. I think most people will agree with that anyway. It's like, because if he isn't from the past, that means Mania isn't actually canon, and I refuse to believe that. Mania is the sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so yeah. Classic Sonic is from the past in this timeline. So this is where the past thing for Sonic this is where the past section of Sonic Generations happens. And once Sonic goes back, classic Sonic goes back to his time, that's when Sonic Mania takes place. Obviously Eggman, the original plan was to have Eggman be like super depressed or some shit, but no, or Robotnik, whatever the fuck, I've always called him Eggman. Even though I actually did grow up with like the D cartoons, like fucking Underground and all that shit where they did call him Robotnik. But no, Mania takes place, obviously the Hard Blood Heavies become a thing, the Phantom Ruby happens, and at the end of that game, Sonic like gets transported into the future again by the Phantom Ruby, which is where the past perspective of Sonic Forces happens. So yeah, that's a pretty simple timeline. I feel like that's not really too hard to follow. The only thing I've really had to explain so far is the classic Sonic is from the past, not another dimension, which I think most people just ignore the whole other dimension shit anyway. So yeah, no, this is where we kind of hit a bit of a bump in the road. This is where, so obviously, there's a big difference between classic Sonic and modern Sonic. Classic Sonic is short and has black eyes, modern Sonic is kind of tall and has green eyes. So I was originally just going to have it go from Sonic Forces past perspective to fucking right into fucking Sonic 4 Episode 1, but then I was like, no, that doesn't really make much sense. And that's when I remember that Sonic Pocket Adventure exists, which kind of is the perfect transitional game, because Eggman starts off the game like looking like classic Eggman with that weird yellow cape thing he's got going on, and at the end of the game he looks more like adventure Eggman, so there's that. And then, you know, Sonic in this game, he looks like a mixture of classic and modern Sonic. He's a little shorter, I think he's a little taller than classic Sonic, and he has the green eyes. So yeah, this is a good transitional game. This is like one of the few things where I'm going to throw in like a spin-off to like sort of explain the connections between the stories. So right after this, we're going right into Sonic 4. Now, I know some people don't want to believe Sonic 4 is canon. I believe it is canon because, you know, it's like, fuck it, why not? There's nothing to really suggest it isn't. I know some people are saying that Mania kind of proves that it didn't happen, because in that game, Metal Sonic shows up, and then this was supposed to be Metal Sonic's like big return after being on Little Planet for like years. But when you really think about it, there's nothing really to suggest that. Like, oh no, he has been on Little Planet for years, but in Mania, you fight him on Stardust Speedway. So there's nothing really to suggest that he's gone anywhere. He has been on Stardust Speedway the whole time. You just fight him again in Mania. So yeah, there's nothing really to say that didn't happen. So yeah, this is where Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 happen. Not really much else to say there. Those games are pretty simple. And this is where we start to get a little more controversial. So this, right after Sonic 4, is where I believe the Sonic Advance trilogy happens. So Sonic Advance 1, 2, 3. Sonic Advance 1 is pretty self-explanatory. It's just, you know, a modern Sonic, like classic, a 2D modern Sonic game. Sonic Advance 2 is where they meet Cream for the first time, which is kind of important because what we're about to get into. So yeah, they meet Cream in Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3 just continues on from that. And right after the Advanced games, now this is a little bit controversial. So I know Sonic X isn't canon, but I think the first season of it does a really good job of explaining how, like, Sonic's world, how like Sonic, all the Sonic characters ended up in the human world. So I'm going to say Sonic X Season 1 partially happens. It doesn't happen exactly the way it does. Obviously, the X tornado never becomes a thing. Tails just uses the regular tornado throughout the whole thing. Obviously, the filler episodes never happen because fuck that. Rouge never gets involved at any point, and I guess we kind of got to determine whether or not Chris Thorndyke exists. I choose to believe he does exist, and that he died in this Days Square accident in Sonic Adventure 1, slowly and painfully. Fuck Chris Thorndyke. But yeah, this is how we're going to explain how they went from like a more fantasy setting into a more human world, and we're going to expand a little bit more onto that. So after that, that's where Sonic Adventure happens, and Sonic Adventure 2, because that's what happened during Sonic X Season 2, so that's obviously what that's going to lead into. That's why I said Sonic X Season 1 partially happens, so the whole Chaos Control thing happens. Obviously they don't know it's called Chaos Control yet, but that does happen, and then they all get transported there, and then the thing at the end happens where it happens again, and it transports the Mystic Ruins into the human world. So yeah, and then that leads into Sonic Adventure, and then into Sonic Adventure 2. Then from that point onwards, there is a little bit of a weird thing. So certain games seem to take place in different universes. Sonic 06 and Sonic 06, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Sonic Unleashed clearly take place within like more of a human world, where games like Sonic Heroes, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Lost World and fucking Sonic Forces all seem to take place in like their homeworld, Mobius. I know it's not called Mobius, but it'll always be Mobius to me. So yeah, like I'm just gonna call it Mobius. I know that's not what it's called. I'm just gonna call it Mobius because that's what I've always known his Sonic's planet to be called. So yeah, what I believe is that the Mystic Ruins, because if you play Sonic Adventure, you can actually see how big the Mystic Ruins are. They are actually pretty big. Because once you get to Eggman's base, you can look off and there's like a huge like forest section. So I choose to believe that the whole thing in Sonic X Season 2, where like they all get moved back. Sonic X Season 2 doesn't happen aside from the adventure stuff, and the adventure stuff is changed a lot in that anyway. So yeah, all that bullshit about they go back to their world, that never happens. The Mystic Ruins is just a lot bigger. Like obviously they go back to places like Green Hill and like Chemical Plant later on, and yeah, all that is just in the Mystic Ruins. Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and all those places that they later go back and revisit are all in the Mystic Ruins. That's what I choose to believe. I choose to believe the Mystic Ruins is like a big part of it, and that's why we see like anthropomorph characters in Forces, because most of that game takes place within the Sonic, and like within like the Sonic place, like within the part of Mobius, which is like the Mystic Ruins. All takes place within the Mystic Ruins. Except for the city levels. I think the city levels take place in like the human world. So even though we don't see any human characters, it still takes place in both worlds. That's kind of what I'm suggesting. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. If you've watched Sonic X, that probably does make sense. If you haven't, it might not. And if you do want to watch Sonic X, it is actually a good show. It's available on Netflix and Amazon Prime. You'd probably be better watching it on Amazon Prime because it has all 3 seasons, but honestly, Season 3, from what I remember, isn't really that good. So you could just watch Season 1 and 2, and this would make sense. Season 3 isn't really important to this. Neither is Season 2, really, but it does it explains kind of what I just said. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So then after that, Sonic Heroes happens. Again, this one would take place mostly within like the Mystic Ruins area. Shadow the Hedgehog obviously takes place after this. Basically, after they switch into the human world, it's just basically a straight timeline of like when the games came out. So it goes into Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, and that's where we kind of hit a breaking point. So Sonic 06 was meant to be a reboot. That's the thing about that game. It was meant to reboot the entire continuity, which creates some issues. So the big, like, fucking main issue here is Blaze. So you may have noticed I didn't mention Sonic Rush. I actually wanted to have Sonic Rush take place right after Sonic Advance, but then I realized that doesn't really make any sense. I know there is that line where Silver and Blaze are talking to Mephiles, and this is in Sonic 06 and Crisis City, where they're talking, and Mephiles mentions like a blue hedgehog, or it's Silver. One of them mentions a blue hedgehog, and Blaze says blue hedgehog, like she knows, like as if she knows Sonic.
So that blue hedgehog's the ableist trigger?
Blue hedgehog.
But honestly, aside from that, it doesn't really make any sense for her to know who Sonic is. So yeah, I choose to believe. I don't know if anyone's ever brought this up before. I've never heard anyone on the internet say this, but I think whenever Blaze used the Chaos Emeralds to seal Iblis into the other world, and she went with him. I believe that is how Blaze got into her dimension. And obviously after Sonic 06, everyone kind of got an amnesia situation going on where they all forgot the whole game even happened. That was the stupidest fucking thing they ever did. But yeah, that's why in Sonic Rush, which happens later, so after Sonic 06, Sonic and the Secret Rings happens, because yes, I am counting the storybook games as canon, we'll get to why. After that, Sonic and the Secret Rings happens, and then once Sonic gets back to his world, that's when the Rush games happen. So yeah, after that, everyone forgets that 06 happened. Now, I know that some people are going to bring up if I think Team Racing is canon, then fucking they have to remember Sonic 06, but I will get to that. I will bring up a point where they could possibly regain their memories of 06. I'll get to that. So yeah, Secret Rings happens, then both Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure happen. I was originally going to have Sonic Rush and Adventure happen right after 06, but then I was like, nah, there should probably be like a separating point between Blaze's appearances, so I went with Secret Rings for that. I don't think Blaze, well, even if Blaze does appear in Secret Rings, it's not actually Blaze, it's just like another version of her. So then after Rush Adventure, then Unleashed happens, and after Unleashed, Black Knight happens. Now, I know I'm just sort of going by the order they were released at this point, but Unleashed and Black Knight, I have a genuine reason for believing they happened like back to back. So at the end of Sonic Unleashed, there's a point where you can talk to Amy as Sonic, and she asks Sonic if he wants to go on a date after the whole thing's over, and you can either say yes or no, sort of depending on what you want to do. And I think now people are going to say, oh, you're a fucking Sony Amy shipper, of course you're going to say this, and it's like, well, I mean, yeah, but there is reason for this. And which, by the way, yes, I do ship Sony Amy, but it's not like, I'm not fucking going to be a dickhead about it like all the other fucking wankers. Like, if you, like, the fuck, okay, tangent here. Does anyone, I don't remember this dude's name, but that fucking asshole who was constantly like having arguments with Mike Pollock on Twitter about this, like about the whole Sony Amy situation, that dude was a fucking asshole. Like, he was literally only interested in Sonic because of that fucking shit. I fucking hate people like that. But yeah, after Unleashed, I believe Sonic says yes to that, and my evidence for this is actually what ties Black Knight into it. So at the end of Black Knight, it explains that the whole game was basically Sonic telling Amy like a story as to why he missed their date, which is the one that was set up in Unleashed.
So yeah, that's what happened. To think I was called in to be part of the tale of King Arthur. But I gotta tell you, it was no picnic.
Aren't you forgetting something?
What? All the action? All the excitement down to the wire? But man, would have thought I was the real King Arthur. Huh.
That's the lamest excuse ever! You just forgot about our date!
No, it's true, I tell ya! Yikes! No! Amy, wait! Put down that hammer!
Hey! You get back here, Sonic!
And that's actually why he was holding 2 chili dogs at the start. It's not because he's a fat bastard, it's probably because he had one for fucking her as well. Or maybe you just want to believe that's like a thing. I don't know. I choose to believe that happened. That you can sort of change what you think about that. But I do have a reason to actually believe the storybook games are canon, which I'll get to whenever we get to one of the later games. So yeah, Black Knight happens right after Unleashed, and that's how I know that. Sonic Colors happens after Black Knight because fuck it, why not? I don't really have anything to lock that down other than Sonic Colors has to happen before Generations. So yeah, after Colors, Generations happens from the future perspective. And this is how we know the storybook games are canon, because after you beat Green Hill in the game, Sonic says, like, saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park and fighting genies in magical books. He says something like that, which is a direct reference to Secret Rings. And if Secret Rings is canon, I don't see why Black Knight wouldn't be, so that's why I'm saying those 2 games are canon. So yeah, this is where Sonic Generations happens, and yeah, after that, Eggman and Classic Eggman somehow get locked in that, they get, like, stuck in, like, the fucking, what the fuck, the white zone? It's like, what the fuck is that place called? Yeah, and then somehow they get out. Right, I forgot to bring this up while I was actually recording, but this is where I think they could have got their memories of 06 back, because I feel like there's a whole thing in time travel stories where, like, seeing something jogs your memory. I mean, fuck, Sonic games have literally done that, where, like, you know, Shadow hears something and it reminds him of Maria, and he gets his memories back. So, yeah, I believe that Crisis City being in Generations was the reason. I believe that was how they got their memories of 06 back in time for fucking Team Sonic Racing. So yeah, that's just, yeah. And then after that, Sonic Lost World happens. Sonic and Tails stumble upon the Lost Hex, and Tails gets like semi-roboticized, the fucking Deadly Six whole bullshit happens, and then Tails is returned to normal. I don't know, I haven't played Sonic Lost World. And then now this, I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but this is where Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood takes place. So I've never played Sonic Chronicles, but I do know how it ends. I know Sonic Chronicles takes place in like a different universe. Like they're transported to a different universe or something, and at the end of the game they come back to the main universe, and Eggman has taken over the entire world. That's how Sonic Chronicles ends, and leading into Forces, that makes sense. So they come back from Sonic Chronicles happens, and at the end of that, they come back to the main world, and Eggman has taken over most of the world because of the power of the Phantom Ruby. And then that's why at the start of the game, Sonic is running through Green Hill and he's like, Jesus, Green Hill's starting to look more like Sand Hill, because he literally just got back from the whole Dark Brotherhood storyline, and Eggman is like taking over the world. And then, yeah, that's where the future perspective of Sonic Forces happens. You don't have to include that, I just sort of thought that was a cool little, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But, yeah, that is the timeline. Also, if I'm wrong about the way Dark Brotherhood ends, and like maybe that's a different game that I'm thinking of, or maybe that's just something that I heard somewhere that just wasn't true, I apologize for that. I probably should have researched that beforehand, but I did hear that somewhere that's how Dark Brotherhood ends. So, yeah, I hope I'm remembering that right. But, yeah, that's my timeline. I hope that wasn't too confusing, because I do know, at certain points it did get a little bit confusing, especially when I was trying to explain the whole Sonic X situation with the adventure games. So, yeah, that's how I think the Sonic games are all linked timeline-wise. Obviously, as I did say, I left off a bunch of the spin-offs, like Sonic Rivals, Sonic Battle, Team Racing, all those other games. I left all those out. The 8-bit games, I guess you could include those, like Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, if you wanted to, because that would make, obviously, Find the Sniper and all those guys canon. So yeah, whatever. I don't know. I actually do kind of want to hear if you have any ideas for where other games could take place, like where you think maybe Team Sonic Racing could happen, or where you think like Chaos or Triple Trouble could happen. Then let me know in the comments. I'm actually really interested to hear. But yeah, that's the end of the video. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment in the comment section below. As I said, tell me where you think other games could possibly take place. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see y'all next time.